Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the final practice of the final round of RLM's ACC Season 2 Championship. We are at Barcelona, which is a track that is rather divisive. I'm Jesse Lee, otherwise known as OVAC here on the OVAC YouTube channel, and by we, I mean I, today will be bringing you the conclusion of the Season 2 Championship here for Tier 2. You've just been watching some of the fast boys in Tier 2 go around. And speaking of fast boys, let's look at our good friend old Pepto-Bismol. He's making his way around the track now. Just a couple of things, and I know that I will repeat this as the broadcast continues to go on, but I am by myself here today. No random call sign. He unfortunately couldn't be with us today to bring you this championship ending round here, but you have me, and I am a very poor substitute for the most handsome man in sim racing. But nonetheless, I am here. Number 2, let me just go ahead and apologize for the poor visuals that you are seeing. It is the best I could do on short notice. But other than that, we are going to see a race here today, despite it not being the clearest or best quality. Just know that throughout this stream, you may see the stream freeze up momentarily. Don't worry, I am causing that. I couldn't for the life of me work out how to make it not do that. But do something with your graphics. Yeah, I don't know if I can, rather unfortunately. I will see what I can do, but I'm unsure if I can. But at any rate, we are here today for the final round of this championship, and as the final 25 minutes of practice gets underway for the final race, this race is different than the previous several sprint rounds we've had. This is I believe it's a 75-minute race, but we will see. And I will leave you here for a moment to the soundtrack of the race as I see what I can do about the visuals being shown. Nope, I am here back again. Absolutely audio. I am here just checking some back end stuff. Got a comment about the stream quality. I have upped it a bit. This is the best that I can possibly do on short notice, and unfortunately, this is what we are stuck with this evening. Of course, I am hoofing it alone. Typically, Random Call Sign would be doing the broadcasting of this, and I would merely be commentating. But obviously, that isn't happening here today. It is just me by myself hanging out by the seat of my pants. But we are going to bring you a great race here today with a championship that is very much still on the line, and we'll check out the point tables here in just a little bit. Yes, Wolf, if you wouldn't mind reminding me what the command to do that is, that would be fantastic. I always forget what the command to disable the names are. I know it's like Control or Alt something, but be more than happy to do that for you. Options HUD driver name. Okay, thought there was a macro for that, but that is okay. I will do just that. Until then, here's what we'll put up the Be Right back screen, and I will try and take care of that really quickly. And let's see. Let's see. It's in here somewhere. Yes, driver names and player tags, isn't it? That is correct. Is let's see. Always off. That is fantastic. Okay, we got that. So now the drivers' names are gone off the top of the heads of the drivers. And we'll show you that, and I will be right back once more. All right. Well, here we are. We're getting down to the last little bit of practice here. Of course, there will be... Don't hear game audio. That's, I don't know why that would be. I checked the stream on a separate device and I could hear the game audio. Not sure why that would be, but it's definitely supposed to be coming through. I'll check for you here just to see. I could try and turn up the game audio a little bit if you're interested in that. Turn that up just a bit. see if you can't hear that a little bit better. But today we do have a great race. There's 15 minutes left in qualifying, and Bordai has taken the fastest lap here in practice. Now, it's interesting to note that we have a championship points battle on tap for you. Today could be the day Jarkko Torvinen has dreamed of, or it could be the day that he loses the Tier 2 Season 2 Championship. So that could be a potential storyline going farther into this evening. But of course, this is practice, and we will still have a race in between, or excuse me, qualifying in between now and then, and Bordai leading the charge here. The reason we're here with OC Takamaki is because when we first started the stream this evening, he was the fastest man in qualifying and quickly fell down or not qualifying, I should say practice, and he quickly fell down the list into 5th place. Still a very respectable position. Some people love or hate that GTR, and just as I've said something, he's fallen all the way back to the 6th place position. But he is on a flyer right now. If the timing and scoring can be trusted, that is, he's going to massively improve here. But let's see, is it correct? It was absolutely correct. He destroyed the quick lap there. He had been working on that a little bit, ever so often, getting very close to taking the pole position back, and then he would have to abort the lap. Good evening, everybody. And the reason that the volume is so low is because I realized something. If I turn it up louder, I just blow out the audio. Yeah, if I do anything to it, it blows it out. It sounds like I'm in a tin can. So what I've done is I have arranged it so at least you have this. Turn up the game audio. All right, got it. Turning up game audio. All right. So there we have it. The game audio has been turned up significantly. See what you think about that. Is this a new microphone? No, it is not. You sound tinny. Yeah, that's true. Again, guys, I'm working with what I got here. Didn't have a whole lot of time to get this going. So what inevitably happened was Random Call Sign told me that he would not be able to be here this evening, and I very quickly set this up because I wanted this finale to happen, to be live streamed and happen. And a couple of things, and I'll just say this once again because we've been joined by a new audience. Apologies for the quality. Didn't have a ton of time to set that up. Doing the best with what I have. Can say looks good on mobile. So if you want to watch this on mobile, those are all set up the exact same way, Izzy, by the way, in case those are all identical to what they were. So all I did was I turned the gain down a little bit because I noticed in practice it was destroying the end of the thing. It was clipping, but everything was identical to the way that we left. So this is what we have, and this is how it's going to be. And if you just joined us, OC Takamaki has taken the quickest lap after several laps of trying and not quite being able to get there. That's what I said. I adjusted the game. I turned it down because in practice it was clipping. 10 minutes left of free practice, and then there will be a very fraught qualifying session. And in that very fraught qualifying session, I think you'll see a litany of changes. Nobody going faster right now. About 4 or 5 decibels. I ended up putting it very close back to where it is, where it was originally now. Yeah, that's pretty much it. As he's going to abandon the lap, we got Alexander Bordai, who's on a quicker lap now. Heard a lot of back and forth about these Aston Martins, you know, and very curious to what they can accomplish this season. It's been a sort of an up and down. It probably is that, because I can show you 6 decibels if that's what you want. That's 6 decibels. That's what 6 decibels sounds like. So there you go. But yeah, the Aston Martins, they're pretty good some places, and to hear some of the other drivers say it, they're terrible others. So it's very interesting to know. But glad to have you with us anyway. So we will get qualifying underway in a few minutes. Let me show you while we have a second. Bruno Cadile is going quicker right now, but just marginally. I'd like to show you the points table. The thing that we're looking at here, we're looking at Jarkko Torvinen, who's leading this championship. Now keep in mind, in RLM, every position is worth a point, and if you get the fastest lap of the race, that's an additional bonus point. That's the only bonus point you can get. And if you've seen this chart, you've noticed that Jarkko Torvinen only has a 6-point lead over Alberto Jeanfrist in this championship. And behind them all, Reg Strello, not out of this yet, 12 points behind. So that's interesting. That's something to keep in mind tonight. Those are the 3 drivers that are involved in this championship hunt. It is mostly between Torvinen and Jeanfrist, but I would not count Reg Strello out of this. This could all change. And Bruno Cadile just made me a liar. If we go back to the live feed, he set a stonking lap up to 2nd place now. Fastest lap is a 44.3. He ran a 44.8, so there you go. Not terrible. Not terrible for these guys so far. A little bit of disparity between the front. Maybe the GTR has something a little extra here. I don't know. Just messing with the volume a little bit. There you go. Messing with the volume, trying to get the volume levels right. Of course, it's almost impossible to get the volume levels right by yourself. So any thoughts are appreciated, not necessarily used. But just as I say that, Bruno Cadile, in his very silver number 88 Mercedes, is still going quicker. He's 2/10 up on this lap, now 3/10 as he passes the slow car, lets him through. Up to 4/10 now. This could be a fantastic lap. This could be a lap that could potentially threaten and or take pole. And in case you do see Bruno Cadile wiggling on your screen, just know that no, that isn't the stream doing that. That's Bruno Cadile actually on the track doing that. Was that a quicker lap? It looks like I've been hoodwinked by the timing and scoring there. It looks like he was not up on his time at all. So that's unfortunate for Bruno Cadile. To us, or to me anyway, it looked like he was up. And it turns out it wasn't. We have that reoccurring issue. Sometimes we get fooled into thinking that there's something afoot. Now, look here at Wolf Matuszka. Wolf Matuszka, who dominated the majority of this season, will not be a factor in this championship because he missed several races, is the biggest thing, and also the 2 very poor by his own standard races that he had that both included wet conditions. I can tell you at least right now it's not wet. It's completely dry, about 38 C on the track and about 36 ambient and cloudy. It is somewhat cloudy here at Barcelona today, but that's not saying qualifying and the race are going to be dry or that there won't be changing conditions. We'll keep you abreast of that. That is more of a thing here in these endurance races than they are in the sprint races. Not saying that there will be weather, just saying that there is a possibility of that. And surely because I've said that, I've jinxed some people. But we look at Wolf Matuszka because he was on a flyer and absolutely flew to second place. 3 or so tenths now off the top qualifier of Takamaki. It is a, well, and just as you say that, Bruno Cadile, who was not showing that he was quicker, actually has now taken second place back. Don't know what's going on with Bruno Cadile's timing, but he certainly did set the second quickest lap, I should say. Not sure here if Wolf is trending correctly. Oh, he's stuck behind this other car who's trying to make a fast lap, and that's not going to do him any good. He was trending 4 tenths up halfway around in Sector 2 here, but it doesn't look like that's meant to be because the other car on a quick lap, another Audi, was directly in front of him. So that's unfortunate that that ended up like that. But a few minutes left to play. We'll go back to the points. Just want to show you one more time. This is the points as they start today. The red 2 are penalty points. You get enough of them in a season, you get removed from the championship, I should say. None of the top 15 drivers in fear of that today, really. Another area of interest that we will be paying attention to is sort of the Sebastian Brunier to right around Alexander Bourdais section, 109 points to 103. Now remember, every position is a point, and in addition to that, fast lap is a point. Yep, for a total of 1 bonus point, I guess you could say. But that's going to be an interesting hotbed of contention as well. Just to show you the other end of the championship that has played out here today. Some of these drivers here today, some will not be, it must be said. We have 22 drivers currently on the circuit. I think we could have 24. I'm unsure. We may only be able to have 22 in one split. I don't really know, to be completely frank. But the reason I'm showing you this is because I am silly, because Wolf Matuszka's on a flyer and he wants that pole position. He's up 4 tenths. He's got out from behind the slow car, as you can see him in the background, that other Audi, and he's driven his Pepto-Bismol colored Audi R8 GT3. That might even be an Evo as far as I'm concerned, and he's trending in the right direction, up 3 tenths. He lost just a little bit there. He lost a lot getting into this final turn chicane complex here. And now, of course, trending in the wrong direction as he goes to pit road. He might have, I don't imagine he was practicing a pit stop there. Wouldn't assume so. By the way, unless I am very much mistaken, this race carries a mandatory pit stop today. You must come in and pit at some point. So that's just adding a little bit of strategy into it today. When will they, when won't they? But if Ozzy Takamaki can hold on to this pole position, this would be a mighty effort by that team, by that GTR team. I assume there's always a GTR fan crowd in every stream, isn't there, where the GTR is pretty loved by a lot of people. It's such an underdog car. As we ride on board with Ivan Dimitrov, which is up a full second on his time. which, by the way, would be good enough for pole position. I'm having a hard time believing this now because he's trending 2.5 seconds up on his time. I don't think that's true, but let's follow him anyway. As the session expires, all flying laps will count, of course. If he's up 3 seconds, I don't know what I'll do. I don't think he is. I think there's a glitch in the timing and scoring for Ivan Dimitrov on this lap, but either way, let's see just in case. Whoa! He goes all the way to second. That is incredible stuff. That bumps Bruno Cadile back down to the 3rd row of the grid. So that was your free practice. And now comes the time to do the dirty work. The dirty work meaning qualifying. Some drivers getting in that last few bits of practice, if you will, before the laps really start to count. We're on board with Denis Pimenov. Just finishing up his lap, and you see other cars come across the line as well. They got a minute to get to the line, in fact. And here's Ekos Yaitvin. Talked about him earlier, or at least showed you the points list, the battle that he's involved in. But big improvement for Ivan Dimitrov, your winner of Hungaroring 2 weeks ago. So that's pretty cool to see him be able to continue. Yes, it absolutely does look promising for Wolf. I've seen Wolf do a lot better with a lot worse pace. So we shall see here. We will take a look here. So just so you know, the weather in qualifying currently, 33 degrees track and air temperature. They're absolutely even with light cloud. That's what I am being shown. So we will follow. They say it's light cloud, but it doesn't look like light cloud, does it, boys? It looks fairly heavy. No, it is light cloud. You know what it is? It's fairly light cloud. You know what it is? It's 7 a.m. is what it is. It's 7 a.m., so it's a bit dark. The headlights on all the cars are on. 7 a.m. qualifying, man, get up for that. We ride on board with Osi Takamaki, and just as we have a few minutes, just some anecdotal conversation between you and chat. For those of you that were with us during the Hungaroring race that Ivan Dimitrov won in grand fashion, just drove away from the field on the start and let everybody else have to fight for second place. It's brilliant stuff. You may recall, I was struggling in that race. I was having a severe allergy attack. Spring had completely sprung here in the U.S. Southeast, and my springtime, my pollen allergies floored me. And I brought that up a few times in the stream. And I brought that up that was something that was occurring, and that's I needed frequent breaks in and around the commentary to do the normal things that occur with springtime allergies that nobody wants to hear live on the air. And that's fair. What I didn't actually tell you guys was, I don't know why, but talking for that long a period of time, in the hot room that I was in at the time, feeling like I was feeling, what was actually occurring was I was getting lightheaded during some parts of that race. So I would, if you go back and watch that race, there's bits where I go quiet, and that's me trying to not die from seasonal allergies. So that was quite a ride. And in stark contrast this week, the reason I tell you all that, I feel the exact opposite. I'm fantastic, and I hope you guys are as well. And I hope that for whatever reason, you guys are going to sit here and listen to this for another, 85, 90 minutes, that's incredible. You guys are incredible. But welcome everybody aboard for the final race. This is the season finale, race number 10 for Tier 2 in Season 2 of RLM's ACC Championship. We follow Osi Takamaki, who was the fastest man in the practice session. We'll see if he can continue that quick work done here, seeing some cars come through. I can say that Osi is on a quick lap here, but what we've missed is the big bad Bentley setting the quickest lap, and now Eko Jaitvan has set the quickest lap, and now Wolf Matushka has set the fastest lap. And Osi Takamaki has set the second fastest lap, and just like that, Wolf Matushka has put us down into the 43s. Wolf's been in our chat several times and talked about how he doesn't reckon that the pace really comes out until the end of qualifying, and that all laps ran in practice are people searching around for stuff or maybe not showing their hand. And time again, Wolf proves his own statements right by either going out there and destroying quick lap in qualifying or having another driver do it for him, which is rare because Wolf is on pole here a ton in Tier 2. Man's an absolute rocket ship with that Audi, and had the season panned out a bit differently, it would be him we're talking about looking for a championship today. On board with Stefan Kwai. Just watching him, watching the time sheet here, because he is going quicker in 8th place currently in his Audi. And he will take his red and gray Audi up to 3rd place currently. That'll be a 44.361, which would have been just about the quickest we saw in practice. Osi Takamaki, of course, went quicker in qualifying than his practice lap. He did a 44.1, but everybody chasing Wolf Matushka in the 43.689 that he posted, and nobody really in that ballpark. That is about a half a second between the two front runners, between the Audi and the Nissan currently. We're still going to ride along with him here because he is still running quick laps. He's looking to improve here. At his current pace, it wouldn't be enough to bump him up as he loses a little bit of time here. But it was looking promising to get a little bit quicker, but it was not to be, rather unfortunately, and he's lost his time. So that means we're going to go to 14th place currently. We're going to go to Jose Llamas, who is 3 to 4 tenths up. He is gaining time in that Lexus, and he's going to march up the field into 10th position. So he gained 4 spots with that, but I'm not too sure everybody's done making lap time yet, as we'll go to Alexander Bordai, who had a lap going. He was several tenths up and lost it in the chicane complex coming onto the front straight. And I think he still went quicker that lap, folks. He did a 44.601. but did not improve his position, though he did improve his time. Eko Scheitman, who was also going a bit quicker, did not help himself much in the final sector there a little bit. I was just making sure I was reporting on the right car there, but he still has potential in this lap, still could do it. Oh yes, he digs out of the final chicane, and Scheitman has several tenths in the bank. Where is this going to put him? It's going to put him at a 44.598. That's good for 7th place. So he does improve after all. I think the ebb and the flow may be a little bit about different cars' characteristics, you understand. I think that might be what that's about. But immediately, Scheitman gets bumped down, and I'm unsure who that was. And I think that's Jean-Frist. I think Alberto Jean-Frist in his, I believe that's the SMP SMP Ferrari, I should say, livery. Yes, it is. Says it right there on the side. He's the one that bumped everybody behind him down just a bit. And this animal, Wolf Matuszka, is threatening to go quicker still, like the field wants to hear that. And yes, he does in fact go quicker, marginally so, but does in fact accomplish that task. Wolf Matuszka now at a 43.617. Osi Takamaki responds in the meantime and sets a 45.052. Not quite there, but shaves about a tenth or so off his time. It is coming in fast and heavy now, as there are 5 minutes left in this early morning qualifying session here at Barcelona. Barcelona, of course, having a very checkered reception for racing drivers. Feel like it's about 50-50. Half the drivers love the place. Half the drivers absolutely hate this place. They don't really like coming here. They don't like racing here. They say it doesn't flow. Then the other half says this is just about the most perfect circuit to go racing because it has just a little bit of everything. So be interested to hear what you guys think about Barcelona as a racing track. I know that sim racers are just as vocal and adamant as real racing drivers, as we follow Ivan Dimitrov, who was your winner last time out, and he goes third quick as he improves a ton. He runs a 44.079, not quite as quick as Takamaki, but still really up there. So that's good stuff. 4 minutes now to play in the session. We're going to go to Eric Ingman now. Eric Ingman in the Porsche. Try to understand how the Porsche drove around here in comparison to some of the other tracks. Couldn't quite, not really a Porsche man myself, so I couldn't really tell you. I don't really drive it that much. I'm not the best guy to ask, but trying to get a general idea of how the Porsche is around this joint, and I think Eric Ingman may be the guy to show us, as he's up by half a second on his lap. That would help him massively here and put him into the top 10 if he could pull this off. Just a few corners left to go as he hits the curb. They're all hitting that giant sausage curb off the penultimate corner, and he's going to come across the line and slot into 4th place. Howdy doody, what a lap for the Porsche, and what a lap for Eric Ingman. He actually improved more there than I was going to give him credit for. I thought he was going to be about 4th, or not 4th, about 6th, and he ended up 4th. Good stuff. Now we ride back with Alexander Bordai. He was on a quick lap. He still has potential in it. Hello to everyone who's joined, and hello to Full House Gaming. Couldn't help but notice that you were playing a VR game earlier and you were doing surgery. Good man, good man. Keeping people healthy in these uncertain times. So it's worth saying that Wolf Matuszka has brought his current pole sitting car to pit road. Unknown if we'll see him back out with 2 minutes to play. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll gas up or set his car up for one more push. Maybe he won't. as we have been following Alexander Bourdais, who doesn't look like he's going to improve. Oh, and he doesn't, but it's just marginal, folks. His best lap was a 44.601, and his lap that he did was a 44.649. With anything, he's consistent, isn't he? Going to Bruno Cadile. Bruno Cadile, if you were with us at Hungaroring, you noticed that Bruno Cadile made a meteoric rise back to the sort of front of the field after having some issues early in the race, and that is the tale of Bruno Cadile's season, really, is having to pick his way through the field. He may have misjudged turn 1 a little bit, if I'm not very much mistaken. He received a 1 penalty point penalty for that maneuver at Hungaroring, but all things considered, in fine form here today, as he runs a 44.4 flat here, and that's good enough to belt him back up into 7th position. As we are running out of time here, 51 seconds to play, and we go back to Stefan Quay, who is in 5th place in his Audi, and he's looking to improve. He's looking to take 4th place from Eric Ingman. Can he do it? We'll find out shortly enough. Just a few turns left for Stefan Quay. One of these days I'll get the names right. It's also worth mentioning that just up the road, Osi Takamaki was thinking about running a quicker lap. We'll go to him really quickly. He's up very marginally now. It's very tentative for the big bad GTR. Doesn't look like it's quite worked out for him, and it doesn't look like it's worked out for Stefan Quay either. Stefan Quay has aborted his lap for whatever reason. As we go back to Osi Takamaki, who seems to be the one that's closest to the pace of Wolf Matuszka. As predicted, Wolf Matuszka doesn't come back out of pit road. His qualifying is over. Osi Takamaki's qualifying is over. Ivan Dimitrov is on a lap, but it isn't quite good enough to improve at the moment, but we'll follow him home anyway. Couple more turns left. We've seen Dimitrov make up time in the chicane and in the corners. Doesn't quite do it. Man, I don't know enough about this, but man, straddling that sausage curve to me, holy cow, like that has to be scary, right? Because that has to hit the flat bottom tray of the car and unsettle it massively, but they're all nailing it. They're all like, they're all better drivers than me, aren't they? So I don't know what else I expected, but just a fantastic drive from all of these guys, as we have Alberto Jeanfrest, who's in, I think he's one of the, certainly the only car in the top 10 who's currently running a lap as far as I know. And he's gonna, and just as I said that, he's pulled off. So that just about does it on qualifying, or does it if you're Alexander Bourdais? He says, hold the elevator, because I'm sending something down. And is it a quicker lap? Let's find out. It is a quicker lap. Alexander Bourdais with 11th quickest at the last possible moment. All right, everybody, hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. That's a mistake. That's not what I meant to say. What I meant to say was catch your breath. I'm going to catch my breath. Okay. Once more, this is your championship points coming into the final round today. There's a mandatory pit stop. Every position is worth a single point. If you run the fastest lap of the race, you get a bonus point. Take note of Jarkko Torvinen, who we did not talk about too much in qualifying. Qualified 6th, by the way. Jarkko Torvinen in his Bentley, he has 192 points. Alberto Jeanfrest is 6 points behind. Jeanfrest in the starting order is starting 9th. That is a 6-point difference. Meaning that if Jeanfrest can get 6 places ahead of Torvinen, I'm pretty sure Jeanfrest would win the championship, because Jeanfrest has won a race. So I think that's how that's going to work out. And also take note of the 13th place Sebastian Brunier all the way up to the 10th place Alexander Bordai, as we mentioned. Look how close that race is. That's something that we will consider, and we will try, or I will try to keep a track on. You guys at home as well, try and keep a track on it. Keep me on track of keeping on track. That would be fantastic. A point per position. This is going to be a fantastic race, I reckon, today. And I would like to have a view of this that does not have the Catalonia is your home banner in it, but I'm not going to get it. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to look at the Catalonia is home banner, and I'm going to click the drive button. That's what I'm going to do. All right. So, we have a few minutes. Now would be a great time for anybody to run to the bathroom, maybe take the phone off the hook, tell your grandma to come in here and watch this, because this is going to be a land rush start down into turn 1, and you do not want to miss this. This is going to be fantastic, and just like you, I will be right back to fan out the starting grid of the final race of the Season 2 Championship here at RLM. All right. I am back. Boss Gaming says that their grandmother isn't an ACC fan. Well, I would suggest you either show her ACC or you get a new grandma, because this is about to be an incredible start. And let's hope it all goes well. As some of you lovely people pointed out to Wolf Matushka in chat, avoid the T1 accident. Wolf, of course, saying that it's not really up to him. Wolf, you can do your little part by not being there when the crash occurs, if it occurs. I don't think it will, though. These guys are incredibly good at what they do. Otherwise, they wouldn't be Tier 2 drivers now, would they? The tension is mounting, all the cars dropping to the floor. And as you know, in a ACC game, if the car is dropping to the floor, that means that they are in the car and they are ready to go. And I'm ready to go. Grid is under starter's orders. I will direct your attention to the number 1 that is in sort of an orange color on the scoring pylon on the left of your screen. That is the number of pit stops that they must do. If you see an orange 1 there, that means they have to do a pit stop. If it turns green, and it will turn green at some point once they make the stop, that means that they've made their stops, and that makes it easier for you guys at home to follow along for this race, and it helps me follow along because quite frankly, there's no other way to tell if they've made their stop other than asking the drivers themselves, and that would be rather hard to come up with off the top of your head. So, thank you, Kunos. That's a brilliant thing to put in the broadcasting section so that we know exactly who has pitted, who hasn't, and how many they have to do. And I have seen some of these races where they do multiple stops, and it works in that fashion as well. All right. Timer has run out. You saw it here. 1 hour, 30-minute time in this race. The car's slowly pulling off. And here is your starting grid. Wolf Matuszka torched the field in qualifying today. It has the pole position over second place Osi Takamaki. The second row will have Ivan Dimitrov and Eric Ingman. The third row will have Stefan Kwai and championship leader Jarkko Torvinen. The next row of the grid in seventh place will have Bruno Cadile in his very silver AMG Mercedes, and he'll share that with Tobias Queck. Starting ninth is going to be Alberto Jeanfrist, and 10th place, Eko Scheitman. 11th place, Alexander Borodai and Benny Benzel. 13th place, Igor Zanella and Jose Llamas in 14th place, I should say, in his number 1 Lexus. 15th place, Denis Pimrov, and 16th place, Kazasek. 17th position and looking for 10th in the championship, Sebastian Brunier in his 777 Aston Martin shares the row with Sinkowitz, I believe is how you would pronounce that. 19th is Cinco and Batcher. 21st position is Populus, and starting from the last row of the grid is Soidlars, I'm pretty sure. And if I got your name wrong, as I say with any race, please feel free to let me know that I have done that. I have no shame in correcting myself, and I'm no shame in being corrected. As this lap continues, you'll see a lot of the drivers scrubbing in the tires, trying to get some heat into it. It is going to be an absolute land rush down into turn 1 here today. Everybody in chat, place your bets now. What do you think they're going to do when they make it to turn 1? I assume they're all pretty much going to make it, to be honest. I don't see why they wouldn't. Pretty sure that these drivers by now, they know exactly what they're doing, and I'm also going to make the bold prediction that Wolf Matuszka is going to pull away from this field and win this race. But stranger things have happened. Just the final couple of corners now. A few more corners as they line up 2 by 2 by 2 as far as the eye could possibly see. Look at them piling in the chicane in the background. Just amazing sights here to be seen as now they slow the pace ever so slightly and line up 2 by 2. This is going to be an awesome start. You have to wait for the lights, and the flagman waves the green flag, and the cars immediately fan out as if shot out of a cannon. And it looks like Osi Takamaki has a run on the outside, albeit by Wolf Matuszka side by side as they go down into turn 1. Wolf Matuszka will have the clear advantage here, or at least that's what you think. Osi Takamaki goes wide and now becomes under threat of Ivan Dimitrov. There's a little bit of a touch. Wolf Matuszka now has cleared the field. Osi Takamaki has managed to hang on to second place despite the very hard challenge from Ivan Dimitrov. But this battle is not going anywhere right now. This battle, though, absolutely heating up as well. Tobias Queck is trying to get around Stephen Kwai. Can he do it? He's going to try and go around the outside. What a corner to be on the outside of. Can't quite do it. Single file again. And now they all try to get single file as quickly as they possibly can. I'm just showing you down through the field. Something terrible has happened to Bruno Cadile. We missed it. Bruno Cadile definitely didn't start 22nd. So something terrible has happened there. Something also equally or nearly as equal as bad has happened to Eric Ingman and Alberto Jeanfrist. I don't imagine they've done that by design, but certainly something has happened to these few drivers. They've fallen way down the order. You would assume that there was some sort of incident. We will likely get a report at some point as there was a massive wiggle by Snikowitz right there. least, no, that wasn't Sticklets. My apologies. I was looking at the wrong car. But either way, Wolf Matushka gets the start that he wants. He got a hard challenge from Takamaki down into turn 1, but just sort of gapped them after that, and so has Takamaki on Dimitrov at the moment. Is sort of got a gap, and the front several drivers have fanned out pretty nicely at the moment. So that was a pretty good start. There appears to have been, I should say, an incident at some point in the field that took out some of the top 10, top 15 drivers. But all's well that ends well, really. I mean, obviously, if you're Bruno Cadille, you don't agree with me with that. My apologies to you, Bruno. But Bruno has, as you can see on your list, already made up several spots in this race. And look at this, 7:30 or 7:22 p.m. Appears to be sunny. I'll give you a weather update real quick. It's 35 degrees track temperature and clear. Doesn't appear like we'll get weather here today, but I've said that before on an RLM broadcast and been wrong. So, you know, we'll see. Just looking up and down the timing and scoring right now, just looking for a battle, looking for something to bring you. This is fairly interesting here, all told. This is Tobias Queck. I called him the green skittle. That Porsche, no disrespect, of course, meant. It's just that very distinctive green car stands out in the group of other cars, and it looks delicious if you look at that Porsche, doesn't it? Like, it looks like if you were on the candy aisle at your local grocery store, you would want that candy if it looked like that. That is a fantastic candy, or a fantastic looking car, if you ask me. And of course, those are my personal opinions of that car. We're just going to go back a little bit further in the field, just a few spots, because you can see the battle raging in the background. I just wanted to show you that real quick. Perhaps not real quick, just as long as it continues to be a thing here. Got two Bentleys nose to tail, not teammates, or maybe I don't think they're teammates, but you can't rule anything out. Talking about Jarkko Torvinen and Heiko Scheitman, who, by the way, are running for a championship here. As they run, Torvinen has a 7-point lead in that championship. So we'll be paying attention to that battle, and we're also going to be paying attention to this, as Alexander Bordai either got it a little wrong or took a really wide approach to try and apex the corner earlier, and that gave Benny Benzel a look. Nothing happening though. Benzel minding his manners early in the race. This is 30 minutes longer than a lot of these drivers are actually sort of used to. I say that some of these drivers participated in the off week in a sort of longer race, but it's been a while in the Season 2 Championship since they have done so. Last several races all being 60 minutes long. One thing that I would have liked to have found out before the race, but I was not able to find out, I should actually say, is if it'll get completely dark here by the end of this race. I'm unsure if that'll occur or not. But one thing's for sure, I think the headlights will be more necessary later than they are at the moment. This group continues to be where the action is occurring. We're watching Jose Llamas's pursuit of Dennis easy for me to say, Dennis Pimenov. Or Pimenov. Again, feel free to correct me, I'm unsure exactly, but one thing's for sure, they are chasing after each other here, as there's just, I've noticed, been a littering of the brake marker boards onto the track here. Didn't see a car around or anything, but you could definitely see, and that will persist throughout this race, that there are the track, the back straight there, if you will, is littered with those styrofoam braking markers. So that's something that the drivers will have to sort of look out for. And as I learned the hard way in a race at Monza once, those things are real, and they have real physics, and they react the way you would expect them to react with a car. So not something you want to go around hitting or, well, ruining your lap, I should say. Oh, as there's a bump there between Benny Benzel and I'm unsure who that was that he was in contact with. I believe that was Benny Benzel on Alexander Bourdais, and now that I've seen the timetable update, I can confirm a T1 touch, nothing too bad there between the two drivers, but now Alexander Bourdais wants by Jose Llamas now, but will fall back in line. That was very dangerous, but they both handled it very well, and that is going to give Benny Benzel 8th place in this championship. Or not in this championship, excuse me, in this race. I'm excited. This has been interesting, and if you're wondering what's happening up front, you can see it on the timesheet. Wolf Matushka has taken this first 3 or 4 laps of this race, and it absolutely ran away with it. 2.8 seconds up on Osi Takamaki, who, by the way, is not getting away from Ivan Dimitrov, and we'll show you that now. This battle is persistent and still occurring here. This has not gone anywhere, nor do I think it will be settled anytime soon. It will be interesting. The last couple of times that we did endurance or longer races, I should say, hour and a half, it was noted that the GTR's tires sort of go off, or they can be ran off in that time span. So that's interesting. Obviously, there is a pit stop. Some other interesting information that you may want to know: these guys have brake settings, not as in, brake pressure settings. They obviously have that. I mean actual brake settings. They can put different kind of pads on the cars. And number one is, I think they're the best brakes, but they don't last about an hour. So I would reckon that based on the information that these guys have learned over this season, that they would all be using brake 2 or worse here, based on the fact that you cannot make it that far, and I believe it's a 45-second change on brakes if you want to change them in pit road. So I don't think that's viable to do that. Just showing you the front battle at the moment, or not the front battle, the battle for second place. That is continuing here because there is not a whole lot that I can see that is going on necessarily. We'll take you to Eko Zhaitvin, who is in pursuit of Jarkko Torvinen. This is your first and second place driver. I gotta say, on that gold and black big Bentley, I have to say I like the pink neon grill. I don't mind that at all. That's pretty good. You wouldn't usually think gold, black, and pink, but not only here you are, but it looks very, very nice, all things told. But this battle here is persisting, and I'm pretty sure Eko Zhaitvin does not want to take out Torvinen here, because obviously that would be major championship ramifications. But in addition to that, there'd probably be a penalty, obviously, but all things being equal, they are equal on the track right now, so Step one for Zeitman is to keep up with Torvinen, something that he's absolutely doing as he pulls really close onto the back bumper of the silver Bentley. Step two, get by the man. But that's the hardest thing of all. Catching him's one thing, passing's another, and we'll have to pay attention to this battle as Wolf Matuszka, by the way, now has a 4-second lead out front. He is flying in that Audi. He is flying in that Pepto-Bismol colored Audi. It's incredible stuff by him. Part of me wonders if you would ask Wolf Matuszka, we'll go to Wolf Matuszka for a moment. Part of me wonders if you asked Wolf Matuszka, pictured here, about how he thought his season was going to go, if he would call you crazy. Wolf, you're going to have a really bad start of the season. It's going to be a bad race, miserable conditions, and all that. Then you're going to go in a row. You're going to win a bunch of races in a row as Wolf Matuszka goes off the track a little bit. That won't bother him too bad. The comfort of having a massive lead is that when stuff like that happens, and the handling of the Audi is very tricky, you are balancing that car, and I do understand the Audi because that's one of the cars that I drive. It's balancing it on a knife's edge. It's really quick, but you got to drive it on that razor's edge, and if you go over that razor's edge, well, it was nice knowing you. But again, one of the benefits of having the lead is that you can have little moments like that, well kept by Wolf Matuszka. But anyway, like I was going on about, I wonder if you told him you're going to have a really bad start of the season, then you're going to go in a row, you're going to win a bunch of races, only to not be able to win this championship because of other commitments and race dates. And I wonder what he would think with that. I mean, we could have asked him in pre-race. He was here, but I didn't. But he seems, in my conversations with the man, he seems in very good spirit about the whole thing. And man, you want to talk about a guy that just loves to get out there and race cars. That's Wolf Matuszka in a nutshell. He's very fast. He's a really nice guy, and it's been a pleasure following him this season in Tier 2. But we were watching him as he had that little bitty moment coming up right about here on the previous lap. I remember I said that he had over a 4-second lead. He now only has a 2.2-second lead. Actually, it'll probably go up here in a moment. It does marginally to a 2.3-second lead. But that just shows you that little bitty mistake. That's all it takes for people to get right back into it or to lose several seconds. That's how close it is. It may look easy, but it's really hard to drive at this level, and these guys are, of course, every 2 weeks in the Season 2 Championship anyway, they're putting on an absolute demonstration drive, and all credit to them for doing so. It's been fantastic to watch them do so. And as Wolf Matuszka continues to grow the lead back out to at least where it was, we will go elsewhere and look elsewhere as we will continue our viewing of these two guys who are been running nose to tail and doing it very mindfully, it has to be said. And by the way, did you notice what I didn't notice? Eiko Zeitman has gotten by Jarkko Torvinen, meaning that the championship points lead is down to 5 points. It is, ladies and gentlemen, game on in the Tier 2 Championship as Geitman is driving away a little bit from Jarkko Torvinen at this stage. 5 points is your live difference at the moment. Remember, if they tie, I'm pretty sure Geitman wins the championship based on having a win. I'm not sure that's the tiebreaker, but it is for most racing. So the most impressive thing about Jarkko Torvinen is he hasn't won a race this season. He's only been a part of one podium, but he hasn't finished outside the top 10. Eiko Zeitman has finished outside the top 10 as far as I've read, but has won at least one race this season. So this has been a fantastic ebb and flow between these two drivers. And look at this. And now you start to see Jytman ever, just a little by little, ever so slightly pull away from Torvinen. And you see sort of Torvinen falling into the clutches of Benny Benzel. So that's interesting, isn't it? Of course, Benny Benzel is still trying to get away from Stefan Quee at the moment. I always thought Benny Benzel's car looked interesting, that Lamborghini. That can't be easy to drive. I've heard a lot of things about the Lamborghinis being perhaps a bit unpredictable at times, and he's certainly driven it well this season. But it always, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of a, what do you call it? Hot Wheels car. It's like one of those flashy Hot Wheels cars you find in the blister packs, you know, where they're painted off all bright colors and everything. I would absolutely have owned that car as a kid. I would have absolutely bugged my mother until she bought me that car because it's blue and yellow. It looks fantastic. But anyway. Whoa, big lunge into the turn there. Stefan Quee, he's getting all of the road. That looked, I think, more hectic from that camera angle we had than it actually was. We go back further in the field just a little bit. We're looking at Sebastian Brunier, who is under a threat and an attack from Igor Zanella here. This is for the 10th position in this race. Could be a pivotal 10th position for Sebastian Brunier. We'll have to find out after the race. But, well, I don't know exactly what happened. Oh, there's a car. I think that's Alexander Bordai, who has gone off in front. He went off marginally and came back on the road and kicked some of the signage, I believe, off the track, clearly disapproving of that brand, but he's back on the track nonetheless. And he continues without too much issue there. People saying they like the blue and silver livery on Igor Zanella's car. We'll take a look at that. They're in the thick of this battle at the moment. So we'll take a look at Igor Zanella in 11th place. As looks like Sebastian Brunier is trying to go up there and catch Alexander Bordai. We'll keep an eye on that as well. Hey, that's an interesting tactic, isn't it, on a racetrack? If you don't agree with the signage, maybe you just tap it with a fender, which is not recommended because these cars are really expensive. But I kid, of course. I don't think Bordai has any problems with the signage on the track. But all things considered, a fairly adventurous off, and he was lucky to get that back on there. And something I've just noticed, gentlemen, as it is getting darker here, it's turning 8 p.m. in sim, you'll notice that the tailpipes, the exhausts of these cars have now started to glow that very pretty sort of red color that is synonymous with a hot piece of metal. That's fantastic. I just love seeing that. Just an excellent detail that you have in this sim. Seeing the lit up exhaust note, and you wouldn't have seen that earlier in the race, right? So now we're getting to that particular point in the race. We stick with this battle. Why? Because this is where the action is. This is the furthest up the field that there is a battle occurring, and boy, what a battle. Just as you thought Sebastian Brunier was going to get away from Igor Zanella, that has not occurred. In fact, that they have backed up to one another, and Alberto Jeanfrist is thinking about making a move on Zanella here. Jeanfrist, who I don't think was supposed to be back here. Something very clearly happened on the start that we missed because they were side by side up front. But either way, this is where we're at. It's interesting, some of the cars don't have their lights on yet. Have you noticed that? Some of the cars don't, some of them do. I imagine some of the drivers have manually turned them on. Or perhaps the game has manually turned some of the lights on, if you have that option selected, and others that use manual lights haven't so much as there's a bit of a pass here, an attempted pass. Alberto Jeanfres, who's going way into the corner, he's going to get the corner, he's going to get the pass. Was there a touch on Zanella? I'm not sure. I think Zanella maybe just sort of tried to, he locked it up a little bit, but either way, he's going to lose a bunch of spots here. Absolutely incredible stuff. He saved the car from going any further than the outside of the track, but lost a bunch of spots. And as soon as we hit a timing line here, we're going to see just how many positions he lost. He is in the clutches of Bruno Cadile, which I think is going to mean he's going to be 14th by the time it's all said and done here. As now he comes all the way back, and yes, is correct, he is in 14th, or at least I should say he was, because now Bruno Cadile has now overtaken Igor Zanella. One small, tiny mistake, something that we all do, cost you that many spots, 4 or 5 spots from just the tiniest of mistakes. Something that in a normal pub lobby would be considered forgivable and wouldn't punish you that bad is ultimate. It's the difference between 10th and 15th here today. Yes, it might have been something like that. There might have been a bit of lag contact, or it may have just been awkward. There may have been no contact at all. I definitely felt like he was really far away from them. So if it was contact, that would have been a heck of a distance to get to somebody, even in lag terms. But either way, here we are. As I couldn't find the driver I was looking for there, clicked it twice, was really confused. But here we are, we're watching Jose Llamas, who is all over Eric Eagman's Porsche now. Lexus versus Porsche currently. Up front, Liv Matushka has restored his 4-point-some second lead. It's up to 4.7 seconds now. Wolf Matushka has over Osi Takamaki. Something interesting, Takamaki has now pulled out 3 seconds over Ivan Dimitrov. Tobias Kwek running comfortably in 4th place in his own island. Eko Zaitvin in 5th place, also sort of by himself. Jarkko Torvinen, who is now 2.3 seconds back of Zaitvin. We didn't watch Zaitvin overtake him, but we watched Zaitvin pull out the gap, and now it is over 2.3 seconds. Benny Benzel, thankfully, I'm sure he's happy in his Hot Wheels colored Lamborghini, driving all by himself in 7th place. Stefan Kwai is, well, actually, no, I'm incorrect. Benny Benzel is not driving by himself. He got Stefan Kwai by him as well. So let's go take a look at that. Go look and see what that gap looks like. And as I switch over there, you'll notice there is no gap there. You will excuse me a moment while I take a drink. You guys don't need to hear that, so no need for it. And we are back watching Benny Benzel, who is sort of trying to pace out Stefan Kwai. Or Stefan Kwai, I'm unsure. And again, Mr. Kwai, if you would like to correct me, you're more than welcome to do so, sir. I am drinking a water type liquid. It is water indeed, just something to keep my throat from drying out because I'm talking a lot. One thing you'll notice, of course, nobody has pitted yet. I think there's a pit window. I'm unsure about that, but I think there might be a pit window. It's been a while since we've done one of the longer races. I've forgotten the exact formatting. I can confirm that it is just water. It's filtered tap water, actually. You can never be too careful. You don't want a brain-eating amoeba. Hello to Think Cars who's joined us here. This is interesting. This is turning into an interesting gathering here we've got this evening. How far into the race? We are 28 minutes into the race here. Got an hour so to go. Got pit stops coming up. The sun is going down, but the drivers' tempers are going to heat up because there's a lot of drivers that have been following somebody for the longest time. The reason we're showing you the Benny Benzel and Quai battle is because this is the furthest up the field. There is a battle. This battle continues to persist. And look at Benzel shade himself over to the outside of the corner to make sure that Quai cannot get a run on him, cannot get the move or set up to do the move. That is pro stuff right there. Excuse me. Nothing happening up front except the fact that Wolf Matushka is now nearly 6 seconds ahead of the field. And he's already planning what he's going to do with the Champagne post-race. But you got to get there first, mate. The sun has almost completely, if not completely, departed this evening as Quai's having a look on the outside. Benzel's going to give it to him. It's going to be a drag race down into turn 1. It's Audi on Lamborghini, and they're side by side. This went wrong before. They're still side by side going up through turns 2 and 3. They are going to pull it off, and it's going to be Benzel who uses the switchback S action to get back out in front and closes the door on a fast approaching Quai. And I believe light started flashing there. That was incredibly close racing. I echo the comments in the chat. You guys are 100% right. That was excellent, very respectful racing. And that's just what I've come to assume is going to happen here in Tier 2. But just absolutely fantastic driving by the two of them to get that close and have that much respect for each other and to pull those moves off. Or sort of an anti-move. Benzel, he had the lane that he wanted, and he got it to come off. That he had enough motor and enough grip, I should say, to make that move come off. That was fantastic stuff. Yeah, I don't think this is going to go anywhere, guys. Do you? I think this is going to be pretty much exactly what you can come to expect from these two. Wow, actually, Benny Benzel kind of gaps him there coming into the final chicane complex. That's incredible stuff. We'll see if he's close enough to make a run. I don't think he is. I think maybe Quai got a little loose or something in the third sector of the of the track, I should say, because he fell back fairly significantly though there. It's very possible that the Huracan is a bit quicker on the straightaway. I'm not entirely sure. I usually have a guy who I broadcast with for the one-off events that knows all about that kind of stuff, and I would typically refer to his knowledge of such things, but alas, he's not here. And also probably Random Call Sign would probably know. I think he drives a lot of the cars. I kind of stick to a couple. I probably shouldn't as a broadcaster. I should probably drive them all so I have a better idea. But I kind of stick to a couple of cars. I drive the Lexus, right, and the Audi typically. And when I'm feeling crazy, I'll bring out the GTR or the Aston Martin. But I know absolutely nothing about the Lamborghini, the Porsche. Let's see. Oh, the AMG, or the Ferrari for that matter. I know absolutely nothing. So we'll rely on other people's knowledge. Under 1 hour to go, 8:20 local time in the sim. The lights are ablaze. The sun has gone to bed, but the race is not over. Wolf Matushka leads Osi Takamaki and Ivan Dimitrov with Tobias Quick in 4th place. Jaitvin has gotten around Jarkko Torvinen, and that's important because Jaitvin is trying to beat Torvinen for the Season 2 championship. He needs to make up 6 points. Now, because he's past Torvinen, he needs to make up 5 points. So he needs 5 more spots than Torvinen has, keeping you abreast of that. Meanwhile, we watch Benny Benzel as he tries to keep Stephen Quai behind him a bit. And he seems like he's doing a pretty good job of that right now, as there is no other real battle. You see this time and time again in sim racing, especially here at RLM, but in sim racing in general, where you'll have a point in the race where it sort of quietens down and everybody's in a position, or they're comfortable running somewhere, or it doesn't appear like anything is going on. But we all know from watching it, it doesn't matter if it's an oval track race or a GT race or a Formula race, somehow, some way, it always comes back together in the end. And it did at Hungaroring, it did 2 weeks before that, it did at Zandvoort, it did at the Nürburgring, and it will likely happen here today. What I thought was Quai going off the track. That was not what happened. I don't know if that was a camera trick or what, but I wonder if you guys saw that at home. I saw Quai go into the wall and everybody else continue on normally. That is not what happened. That is absolutely not what happened. Oh my goodness. That scared me. That shocked me. I saw all the other cars going around fine, and Quai just went into a wall. Holy cow. I am so happy that's not what happened. It wouldn't have been the first time we saw that, though, unfortunately. We have seen that happen before, where somebody... what was that one race we had, gentlemen, where somebody's wheel broke or something. Somebody's wheel came off, or their pedals come unattached, and they just planted into a wall. If it were real, it would be an incredibly scary moment, but it was a race ender for sure. But it's just, you know, anything's possible, and for a second there I thought we were seeing that again. Yeah, indeed. I agree with chat. It looked real. That's why I freaked out. That's why I audibly gasped. It looked like it was happening. It did not look like a typical disconnect, and luckily he's still in the race. His ping is fine, just a momentary thing there. And as I assumed but was unsure about earlier, you'll now notice at the top of your screen the pit window is open. You have 20 minutes to do your pit stop. You may do it at any point in the 20 minutes, and if you don't do it in the 20 minutes, I believe you get a big penalty that ends your race. So that would be unfortunate. And Stephen Quai is the first driver to come down into pit road, ladies and gentlemen. He's the first driver. He is going to try the undercut here. The first driver in, and he will go up onto his jack stands. He will almost certainly get tires, may or may not get fuel. I'm unsure. Some cars can go a lot longer on fuel than others. It's just a product of GT racing and BOP. So he is in pit road all by himself, and you know what they say, one is the loneliest number that there ever was. Yeah, that would absolutely be the worst, wouldn't it, to have some sort of issue. I've certainly, in iRacing, had that issue, by the way, where been leading a race, and all of a sudden it decides that the program doesn't want to work. That sucks, doesn't it? Either way, Stephen Quai is out of pit road. He has completed his stop, and you'll notice he's in 16th place, but you will notice that his number one, his amber number one, is gone, and it's replaced by a green icon, meaning that he is good to go to the finish if he can do it. Ivan Dimitrov is going to pit from 3rd place in this race. He won last time out at Hungaroring, and he is in pit road. My apologies there. Taking a minute. You've been watching Ivan Dimitrov, I should say, come into pit. You also just saw Alberto Jeanfrist bring his car into pit road. And also Denis Pimenov is in pit road as well. You'll notice the white P by their name if they are in pit road. And whoop, that was the wrong camera altogether. Now, wasn't it? Getting really dark, it must be said, out here today, or out, well, very dusky. As you will certainly see as he exits pit road, you'll see the lights in the infield on. There's some of those lights in the infield on. Lights on the cars obviously on. And look at the AMG. Look at its look at its pipes out the side of the car, just glowing. You can see them through the bodywork. That's just brilliant stuff. It's good stuff. Kunos has done a really good job with some of the things in this game that just add to that little extra bit of realism. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like the brake pads glowing and not glowing is one thing, and then you have the exhaust cooling down, and like the way the track lights work and the way the lights work off the track. It's all, some of that stuff is just, it's unmatched in its realism, and it sort of sets the benchmark in my mind. So the furthest driver up the field to pit is the aforementioned Ivan Dimitrov that we are riding on with right now. What happened to Kwai? He pitted. That's what happened to Kwai. Nothing bad has happened to him. He has just pitted. He is back out, and it was a completely routine pit stop. All of the drivers thus far that have pitted have had a completely routine pit stop, as now we go into the Hot Wheels Lamborghini that is Benny Benzel. Love that paint job on that car. He goes up on the jacks, and he will do his service as well and get the green placard beside his name on the left side. Absolutely no problem. That's what I'm here for. We are here to answer your questions about this race, and if I can't answer them, I will make sure chat can answer them. Why don't I have shadows? Shadows are on. They're just on a relatively low setting, but they are absolutely on. I don't even know if you can turn the shadows actually off, now that I think about it. I've never tried to turn them off. But either way, we now have OC Takamaki coming into pit road, that GTR, who is running solidly in the second position. I didn't notice he had a little neon under the GTR area. At least I think that's what that is. But either way, he comes down pit road. It must feel like an age, as Jose Yamas also is coming to pit road. Look at all the cars in pit road. Izzy, I'm pretty sure that's a setting that I have selected to make the stream run a bit smoother, is what I have done there. Trying to not have any issues on the stream. I took some measures to lessen the load on the poor PC. But either way, we are getting into the pit stop cycle here fairly deep. Now, we are going to pay attention here. The reason I'm following OC Takamaki, we're going to see where he comes out in relation to some of the other drivers that he, I guess you could say, is racing, potentially racing. So he's going to come out, and I think the furthest down that he's going to be is in 7th place, right? So I don't think he was challenged on the pit road. All these pit stops completely routine, which historically hasn't always been the case. There's been some issues on pit road and that sort of thing. As we go look at Bruno Cadile real quick, who's having a fight back through the field after what we can only assume was a first couple of turn incident that led him to this point. But oh, this is tricky, isn't it? He's got the leader he's got the leader Wolf Matuszka, I should say, right up behind him. Wolf Matuszka flashing the lights at the car coming out of pit road, letting him know, hey man, you're losing me time here. They're gonna go side by side. This could be dangerous here. For your leader gets by, no harm, no foul. Bruno Cadile lets him through, but the only problem with this is there is a very hungry Jose Llamas right behind Bruno Cadile right now. And all that did, trying to let the leader through, was allow Mr. Llamas to catch back up. That's interesting, isn't it? Wolf Matuszka, your top 6 currently have yet to pit. If a car has done their mandatory pit stop inside the pit window, you will notice that they have a green placard beside their number. If they haven't, they have an amber 1, meaning they have 1 mandatory pit stop. And if you adjust your eyes to the top of the screen, you'll notice that there's a pit window as Bruno Cadile, oh, that was very close. Bruno Cadile goes off the track there a little bit, comes back on, no harm and no foul. But my goodness, that could have, a few more millimeters and that could have been bad. Jose Llamas falls back into line, and if you look in back of shot, that SMP Ferrari that is being driven by Alberto Jeanfrist is still there. As we have the race leader in pit road now. He has decided he has had enough. He doesn't want to fight traffic anymore. And he has come in. Look at those LED lights on that R8. I get excited about the weirdest stuff in like sim racing and motorsport. But I love the fidelity of those LEDs. That is incredible. It's just literally the front of the Audi R8 Evo looks like somebody strapped a million little torches to it, doesn't it? It's crazy looking. It looks like an arachnid almost. That's fantastic stuff. Anyway, Wolf Matuszka comes in. So does Alexander Borodai, who you see in the shot as well. Also into pit road. Nope, I'm incorrect. That is not Alexander Borodai. You know who that is. That is nobody of the people I'm looking at. I think, yes, that was Torvinen, as it turns out. Like I said, Jarkko Torvinen, your championship leader, is in, and his pit stall was right behind leader Wolf Matuszka. Wolf Matuszka, by the way, down and away, as we'll join him for a moment. Down and away, no issues there on pit road, nothing of the sort. Will say, Wolf, I think your four-ways are still on. Nope, just your right blinker, Wolf, if you can hear us out there. Your right blinker is on. But other than that, let's watch him and see if he turns it off. But he's going around in fantastic fashion. He does momentarily surrender the lead to Alexander Borodai, who is currently out front in his number 98 Aston Martin. It's got an interesting tricolor effect on that car. It's black, but with yellow and blue accents. How do you feel about that, Chad? How do you like that as far as a car color combination? We'll go back and look at Wolf Matuszka to see if he's turned out his right blinker. He has not turned out his right blinker. He is not listening to me at this point. He is full-on attack driver mode. So that's interesting. We've seen him do that before, actually. I think it was a left blinker before, but I digress. Current leader of the race by default is Alexander Borodai, so we are going to talk about him because he has managed to be the last car inside the top 10 that haven't pitted. There are a couple cars that haven't, mind you. You can see them on the side of your screen. But Borodai leading this race at this point as we encroach, or we have already encroached upon, the halfway point in this race. Still have 8 minutes left to go till this race, or till the pits close, and you get a penalty if you haven't pitted. Just a handful of drivers that haven't, including your race leader, that we are watching at the moment. Just to update people on how the pit stops have played out. It looks like Eko Scheitman has managed 5th place, while Tobias Queck has found himself up into 6th position. Jarkko Torvinen is now down to 7th place. And that's important because Eko Scheitman now only needs 4 more points to win this championship. 4-point difference in the Tier 2 championship on championship weekend here, and it's coming down to this. Jarkko Torvinen going the wrong direction, but if Tobias Queck can take the 4.3 second gap that Scheitman has and pass him, then it'll be back down to 5. But of course, if Scheitman can get up there and challenge 4th place Dimitrov, then that would be fantastic for him, as Alexander Borodai is into pit road and is doing his pit stop. Be interesting to see where he fans back out, as here comes Wolf Matuszka, still with his right blinker on. I feel like having your right blinker on only works in places that drive on the right-hand side of the road, which, depending on your persuasion, may be the right or the wrong side of the road. But either way, Wolf Matuszka has now retaken the lead of this race. Some people in chat are now rooting for the blinker, I'm reading. They love the blinker. Blinker is number 1. I believe he has done this before and left it on. I don't, as far as I can tell, because I do drive the Audi, there's no way to tell in the cockpit that your blinker's on. So perhaps he's done that when he was fiddling with his pitting options and he's turned it on, because that's how I have my wheel set up. So that seems logical. And he doesn't know it's on because there's no way, I don't think the car tells you. I think there may be cars that do. I still think the Audi does. Ah, yes. Of course, the ever-present distraction of the competition. A brilliant move, if I do say so myself. But here we are. Wolf Matuszka back out front of this race, leading Ossi Takamaki by nearly 10 seconds here, as it has gone fully dark out there. And I got an answer to my question now, didn't I? That it was going to get fully dark, and it certainly has. Pulled my headphone cord there, sorry about that. Fully dark around the circuit, and it will only get darker and more cool out there, I assume. Let me give you an update. It's still holding at 33 degrees, or at least the tool says it is. Don't know how accurate that actually is. Got a little thermometer out back of the booth here if you want the honest truth. And I don't know how. I don't know. Do you put it in direct sunlight? Do you put it in indirect sunlight? How do you get an accurate reading from a thermometer? I'm not a meteorologist, but either way, I digress, and we move back through the field. This is a battle that is occurring. Remember when I said Tobias Queck had gotten around Jarkko Torvinen, probably by virtue of the pit stop that had occurred, but this battle is absolutely still happening, and this is where the fight is. I tell you another thing I really like about ACC while I'm on the subject. When the camera comes into contact with the headlamps and the camera appears to be dirty or something a little bit, I know some people like that right there. I know some people hate that. I love that for some reason. I love it because it adds something to the atmosphere. Yes, and we also have Benzel. Well, yes, Benzel is chasing Quai. That is absolutely true. By the way, Tobias Queck has just been awarded a drive-through penalty. You can only assume that is a track limits penalty. Every race, you get several warnings before being given a penalty. That is not what Tobias Queck wanted to see. He did not want to see this penalty here today, but he has gotten it. He had such a great race going on, and there's a tap. There's a tap to Torvinen as Torvinen has gotten through. Oh no! Oh my goodness! Absolute pandemonium has just occurred here. It looks like Tobias Queck has turned Jarkko Torvinen. That is your championship leader, folks. Jarkko Torvinen has been spun and has lost several positions here. Tobias Queck has been given a drive-through penalty. Now I wonder, guys, if maybe the penalty wasn't due to contact or something. Because why would Tobias Queck do that unless there was some sort of contact? Or I'm unsure. I'm not going to pass judgment because I'm just completely unsure. One thing we do know is now Tobias Queck is in pit road, and he is serving his drive-through penalty, the loneliest drive. What on earth happened there? We saw the drive-through penalty by Tobias Queck. He was a little off track, but I wouldn't say it was enough to give a penalty. We saw the drive-through come up, and then he looked like he rear-ended Jarkko Torvinen, and now Tobias Queck is taking his car to the garage. He's been given a stop and go for whatever reason, but he has exited the race. The garage door, the proverbial garage door, has now been pulled down on Tobias Queck's effort for the Season 2 Championship, and you hate to see that happen. You hate to have that happen here at the end of the season like that, especially with 36 minutes left to go in the championship. Now, to update you, I'm going to take a breath. Eiko Zeitvin is in 4th position. Jarkko Torvinen is in 7th position. That means that Zeitvin is only 3 points out of the Season 2 Championship in Tier 2 at this point. Jarkko Torvinen, somehow not his own doing, is going the wrong direction in the race. We'll show Jarkko Torvinen here, who very quickly got the car righted, but still lost several positions. Just incredible scenes that we're seeing here. You wouldn't expect anything quite like that. 3 points, your championship difference now. And now I wonder, I didn't see Torvinen hit anything. Did he get damage from the contact with Queck? We don't know. If it did happen, we will see that show up here on the timesheet as the pit window has closed, and that's really bad news for this car right here. I believe you pronounce this name Populus, or Populus. He has not pitted. He will be given a massive penalty, I would assume, when he comes across the line. He is the only car in this field that has not pitted, and you had to pit in the time frame that we mentioned. You had 20 minutes to pit. He's not done that, so we're going to follow him back around and see what happens to him. I assume he'll get disqualified. Okay, I'm being told by chat he's going to get just instantly disqualified. Oh, he's going to get disqualified on the finish flag. Don't know why they would use a finish flag. I would use maybe a Norwegian flag, but you know, what have you. Yeah, this is not going to be good. We'll see what happens when he crosses the line. That's another good question from Isaac West. Will he even make the finish of this race? I don't know. I know some cars can make it an hour and a half. I don't think the Aston's one of those. I think an hour and a half is pushing it with a lot of them. But What pun? I didn't make a pun. No, what you talking about? So he did not get a penalty coming across that time. So either a couple things have occurred. The timing and scoring is messed up for Populous, or he will get disqualified at the end of the race for not pitting in the pit window. So we will keep you abreast of that. You can keep yourself abreast of that. He's running in 17th. He's very clearly on the screen. You can check that out. We have went back to the 5th place battle here. This is a battle for 5th place between Stefan Kwai and Benny Benzel. I feel like this battle has been occurring all day. You would assume he has to pit at some point. Perhaps he was unaware he had to pit in the time frame. That we are unsure of, but again, we'll get our answer in 32 minutes from now, won't we? Wolf Matushka out front, 13.6 seconds left, or excuse me, 13.6 seconds the gap, I should say. 32 minutes left in the race. Go to do a Wolf Matushka update. Still got that blinker going. That's just as well. If he keeps that up to the end of the race, that's just fine, because he'll have to turn that direction to go to victory lane, won't he? So I think he's just getting a bit of practice in there. As we are going to go to 9th place. I said we're going to go to 9th place. Thank you. The director there did not want to work. We're going to go to 9th place because Jose Llamas, as we were talking about before, Jose Llamas has now tracked down championship leader Jarkko Torvinen. Oh, and here we go. They are side by side. This is dangerous move, dangerous maneuvers here. Jose Llamas pulls out of it, thinking better of it. Jose Llamas is very quickly, in my mind, stuck in my head as a driver who typically uses his head when making positions or making passes, and if he doesn't like it, he tends to back out in my mind. He hasn't run the full championship. He's one of those drivers that made it in, as far as I'm aware, made it in by virtue of some other drivers being disqualified or backing out of the championship. And he made his debut and just had a really solid, quiet race. And the last time out made some fantastic moves. So he definitely pulled out of that maneuver fairly quickly, and bravo to him, trying not to cause a collision, I should say. I'm starting to mince my words here, guys. I'm excited because we have 30 minutes to go. It's just gone 16 past 9 here in Barcelona. It is blooming dark, as the British would probably say, if they would say something like that. And basically we're watching a race by headlight and taillight at this point. You're just going to have to take a word for it that we're looking at what we're looking at, because how else would you know? But this is fantastic stuff we've seen here. It's just all going the wrong direction if you're Jarkko Torvinen. Jarkko Torvinen does not want this to happen. He wants a nice, smooth, quiet race, and he wants to get out of here with a championship trophy, and that has not happened here. Eko Zhaitvin not only caught Torvinen earlier in the race and passed him. Torvinen was trying to get by Tobias Queck, if I'm not very much mistaken. Yes, by Tobias Queck at some point, and there was contact. And there was a very interesting moment there that I can't really comment on directly because I'm unsure exactly what happened. Queck did have a drive-through that was awarded. Unsure exactly what that was for. It's usually track limits. It's not exclusive to that, but it usually is. But then there was contact between Torvinen and Queck's car. Crazy stuff. If you'll give me a moment, we'll be right back to finish this race. right. Thank you for bearing with me. Family emergency. Sure you can all appreciate when certain people in your family call you, you have to take the call because they don't call just to say hello. And that's what occurred there. So back on track here. Tobias Quick in chat here. Tobias, if you're still here, man, if you would not mind explaining to us what on earth happened out there. That was just a series of unfortunate events, and we would love to know here what happened from your point of view. I'd love to have an interview mid-race. Just if you could tell me, if you could just tell me in chat what's going on or what happened there. That's first of all, what was the drive-through for? Why would you have been given a drive-through? Number two, the contact with Torvinen. And then three, why did it give you a stop-and-go penalty after you did the drive-through? Yeah, if you don't mind, obviously, I would love to have the answer to those questions. Right, okay, so we got that. I got one of them right, though, Tobias, so I'll take that. I assumed it was track limits, but yeah, I said that during the race, that it didn't appear to be egregious, but the track limits are a fickle mistress sometimes, but it was very, yes, I see, okay, so that's very interesting as well to hear that. Oh my goodness. So, quick. All right. I'm not going to repeat that on stream, but thank you to Tobias Quick for explaining his departure from the race. Oh man, that sucks, man. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry the season ended that way. It's been a rough season, honestly. I mean, you out of anybody, I'm pretty sure you've passed the most cars out of anybody. So that's unfortunate. Hearing it straight from Tobias Quick in chat right now. Tobias saying that got the drive-through for the driving over the track limits, but he did not gain time. Is his take, and then Torvinen doing a maneuver that he didn't appreciate, and then there was a whole thing that ended up that way. So that's unfortunate. I see. Oh. And whenever he went to serve his drive-through penalty, which he did very promptly, he turned the indicator. I've done that too, Tobias. Yeah, I've done that too. That's unfortunate. That's really bad. I have absolutely ruined races that I've done because of that, man. I am sorry to hear that. That is unfortunate. Thank you for, 3 wide as they go down into the corner. Bruno Cadile, absolute Superman overtake. I think that was a lap car a little bit. I am summarizing, Mr. West, because if the comments get disabled when the video goes up, people will still watch the video back and want to know what happened. Is why I'm doing that. Oh, I see. So Quick had contact with both the championship drivers today. That is bad luck. No, I didn't see that, Tobias. We did not see that. Oh my gosh, what an adventure it's been. And speaking of adventure, let's talk about it. Look at this shot. Holy cow, look at that shot. So let's count them out. 5, 4, 3, 2. Edgar Zeitvin is now only 2 points behind in the championship. Behind Jarkko Torvinen. Torvinen in 8th place, Zeitvin in 4th place. That is 2 points, the difference in the championship, all things considered. Benny Benzel, while I was gone, has overtaken Jarkko Torvinen, or maybe I'm incorrect with that. Maybe that has been like that, because I remember Jose Llamas was behind him anyway. Yeah, Queck was absolutely fast. Queck, I was remarking at the beginning, well, not the beginning, at the middle of this race, man, about the pace, and the pace, and like how it must have been refreshing for you to not have to drive through a bunch of traffic today, or cars, I should say. I don't know if traffic's a mean term. Certainly don't mean it like that. But yeah, because typically I would have to say you probably passed the most cars for position of anybody, and for you to be able to focus on working on that podium, that must have been a lot of fun. But man, it's a shame to see the day end like that, or the season end like that for Tobias Queck. Tobias, I got one more question for you, man. I don't know how much of the broadcast you watch, but I know you're here occasionally. But I love the Skittle Green Porsche that you have. I hope you don't mind me calling it Skittle Green. I love that car. Will that car make a return? Will you continue to drive the green Skittle Porsche? And as he answers or comes up with something for that, I'm popping around showing you the various different battles, the various different things that are going on. Not a whole ton. I mean, I say not a whole ton, but look at this stack of cars. This is the sort of area that we're focusing on, as we have now dipped below 20 minutes in this race, 9:41 local time. Oh, I see. Queck, that's interesting to learn about you, man. You prefer to overtake cars. Okay. I respect that. It is. I agree. I'm a terrible qualifier. I'm not saying you are. I'm saying I am. I'm a very terrible qualifier. So I end up starting in the back a lot, and I can understand that sentiment. Loving passing cars. Nothing more fun than that. A lot more tedious chasing somebody for a podium. I can understand that as well. More fun passing a bunch of guys. But yeah, there you go. And thank you to Tobias Queck for coming into chat and talking to us today. I appreciate Tobias for you not only talking with us today, but giving us your opinion and your rundown on what occurred of the race. I do appreciate that insight. It's just insight that we wouldn't have any other way. So thank you, and thank you for participating Tier 2 this season and giving me something nice to look at. As far as car liveries go, a lot of these guys do, but that green Porsche, man, that thing sticks out. That is a lovely car to watch. But we are 16 minutes away from the natural conclusion of this race. Sorry, I was just looking at timing and scoring. Thought I saw something suspect there. It was not suspect. I mean, my eyes were just broken. These battles continue. As I'm looking for a specific one. This one is the one I'm looking for. Looking for Stefan Quee and Bruno Cadile. This is a battle for 5th position. Going to be Audi on Mercedes. These two guys have been fighting for quite some time now. They will continue to do so until the end of the race, you would assume. Oh, that's fantastic to hear, Queck, about thinking about doing a nice AMG. That'd be great. Heard the AMGs were quick. Wouldn't be a bad choice. Heard the Porsche was tricky. I think Porsches all in general and most sims are tricky. I don't even see why ACC would be any different. So seeing you in a Mercedes, that just sounds like a weapon. That sounds fantastic because I'm just looking at the exhaust of these cars. Look at those glowing exhausts. And also thanks to what was it? That's Full House Gaming. Full House Gaming mentioned that that Populous came into pit earlier. That he did indeed do that. He's still out on track. This is Populous Populous at the moment. He did come into pit and it did not clear his pit stop. So one of two things I can assume that are occurring here. He's not meeting the pit stop requirement set out by the game, meaning that you have to put on tires and do a few other things, which you'll see he's coming back in again. Or it's not working properly. I think it's probably the first one because you have to configure the options. I don't think it auto configures for you. I think you have to do it manually for the first time or so, and I think that's what we're seeing here. Is he's not satisfying the mandatory pit stop requirements, and that's why it's not clearing. Is in pit road again. We'll see as he, oh no, he's rolling again, and oh no, and now he stopped again. Unsure exactly what's going on with that car, but we are going to focus back on this battle that is ever present and continues. It will likely continue until the end of this race. We're just looking at Jarkko Torvinen currently at the moment. Jarkko Torvinen started this race in a decent enough position, especially in front of championship rival Zeitvin, who has not only driven by him, but has missed out on a lot of the mid-race chaos and dramas to this point. He has driven his car up into the top 5, into the 4th place, in fact, and has put all the pressure on Jarkko Torvinen, who now only leads this championship by 2 points. And if I'm not very much mistaken, fastest lap of the race is currently on Wolf Matuszka. Wolf Matuszka did a 44.406. The next quickest I see is a 44.817, and that's Osi Takamaki in 2nd place. So neither one of the championship drivers here will get that point, it doesn't appear. And as these battles continue, I'm just going to show you very quickly one more time what the points championship looks like coming into the race. These are not live points. You'll notice that there is a 6-point gap between I just realized that I have been confusing Jean Frist with Geitvin this entire time. That is my mistake, and that actually hasn't changed. Jarkko Torvinen and Alberto Jean Frist are in the points championship. So now, Jarkko Torvinen, I was incorrect. Jarkko Torvinen is now, 8 points ahead of Alberto Jean Frist. And Ray Strello, who I don't believe is in this race, I haven't called his name once, so he's not in this race. So my apologies for getting the points championship wrong this whole time. It's Jean Frist, not Geitvin, who is in 2nd place. That's my mistake. Better late than never to get it right, however. So Jarkko Torvinen is in control of this championship, like I've said, the entire race. And he has a 8-point lead coming up right now. Alberto Jean Frist is in 10th position. Jarkko Torvinen in 8th. I suppose so, quick. I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. I mean, if you're asking if you can do that in my chat, you can absolutely do that in my chat. I don't care. But yeah, my apologies once again. I have been confusing Aiko Zeitvin and Alberto Jean Frist this entire time. The championship battle is 8 points in favor of Jarkko Torvinen. That is my mistake, but we rectified that in the final 10 minutes of the race, at least Oh, that's a shame. It is a shame that YouTube doesn't allow links. There's nothing I can do, I'm afraid. But final 10 minutes of the race. This battle continues. This is the battle closest to the front of the field as Jarkko Torvinen, who is trying to put pressure and is succeeding in putting pressure on Vinny Benzel, Jose Llamas, Alberto Jeanfrist, and I believe Alexander Borodai are all in this. Nope, Borodai is not in this group, I am mistaken. And it would appear as if Jeanfrist has completed the pass. A fantastic pass, maybe a bit orchestrated there. Jose Llamas just sort of either allowing Jeanfrist to get around or making it sort of easier on him than some other drivers probably would have, but classy move by Jose Llamas there anyway. At least I believe that is what has occurred, and that is in fact what has occurred. If I switch between the two cars, you'll see it show up on the list. So that puts your championship hopefuls back to back. Jarkko Torvinen now has a 7-point lead on Alberto Jeanfrist. So it is down to 7 points, and the championship competitors are as close as they could possibly be as far as the points, but Jarkko Torvinen held that lead. Quake, you could do that. You could DM me if you wanted to. And as it were, the Bruno Cadile fans show up, and from last place to a 5th place current running position, that is good stuff. Wouldn't be a race here in Tier 2 if the Cadile fans, if the Portuguese fans did not show up. I'm pretty sure Cadile is Portuguese anyway. That is fantastic to have those guys here and to cheer on Cadile. And yeah, well, actually, while that battle cools off, you know what? We're going to give you a little Cadile action here. Saw that he had pace in qualifying. That has absolutely manifested here in the race, and he's driven that very chrome 88 Mercedes AMG GT3 car into the top 5. Probably wasn't the start he was looking for, but it certainly has ended up fantastic for him. He's just got a few more laps to hang on to get a top 5 to close out the season. Not missing anything up front. Wolf Matushka leads this race by 22 plus seconds over Osi Takamaki, and Ivan Dimitrov is 13 seconds behind second place. Not missing anything there. Just to recap, Jarkko Torvinen came into this race with the championship lead over Alberto Jeanfrist. Nothing has changed except that Jarkko Torvinen now has a 7-point lead instead of a 6-point lead. They are pretty much nose to tail though, but just wanted to give a little Bruno Cadile a little love from the fans, his people, his teammates perhaps, that enjoy watching him race, and even though it's completely dark, get a look at the man in 5th place. As the camera gets absolutely lost there, but we go back to Jarkko Torvinen. That does happen. Hey, it happens in real life too. But camera gets completely lost. This is the battle. This is the battle for 7th, or actually 6th place, really, isn't it? Because if Vinny Benzel is on the back of Stefan Quai, so this is the battle for the, what is it, 4th, 6th position. Had to run that down in my head there. Take a look at that. But yes, this race has been interesting nonetheless. And Tobias Quack was nice enough to share with us his views of the incidents that were in question, and if they are being posted in chat, if you guys would like to see them, if you would like to see those angles, you are more than happy to take a look at them for yourself and get an idea of what happened during those dust-ups. Thank you, Tobias Quick, for, again, not only talking to us here at the end of the race, but also providing your angle on what happened there. There they are right there. Did that really fairly smoothly there, as we have less than 5 minutes to play, just gone 7 past 10 in the evening here at Barcelona, the finale of the Season 2 ACC Tier 2 Championship. And everything today has gone Wolf Matuszka's way, but in the championship, it's not been an easy drive for Jarkko Torvinen, but he is posed to win the championship. And as I just say that, it is now a 5-point championship lead, as Alberto Jeanfrist has got around him that SMP Racing liveried Ferrari is by Jarkko Torvinen now. So that's a 5-point difference. It's all to play for here in the final minutes. Oh my goodness, Jarkko Torvinen goes off the road ever so slightly there. They're doing that in qualifying too. They were straddling that sausage curve, and that was incredibly scary to see that, but they were going to pull it off. Look at Alberto Jeanfrist go. Look at that Ferrari pull down the straightaway as he thinks about making the move to the inside. He's not quite there, falls into line, pulls up right behind Benny Benzel here in the late part of the race. This is the battle furthest up the field that we have for you right now. It is for 7th position with 3 minutes to go. This is fantastic stuff that you're seeing here late in the race, as maybe looking to the inside. Alberto Jeanfrist is thinking about it. Remember, if he can get by Benny Benzel, that'll be a 4-point championship difference. This is coming down to the final laps of the final minutes of the final race to have a winner here today in this cup. This is fantastic to see these guys fighting so hard. As Benny Benzel goes wide, hits the curb, bashes it, goes wide. That's going to open up the door for Alberto Jeanfrist, and Alberto is through. Mark him down for 7th place and a 3-point gap in the championship. Can you believe it? I told you guys at the hour mark, these races always come back together for some reason. It's GT racing, it's crazy, it's unpredictable, isn't it? So there you have it. Alberto Jeanfrist now has the 7th position and 4 positions, or 4 points, which are 4 positions, away from winning this championship. If he can somehow find it, it's going to be an uphill road here in the last lap or two. But if he can do it, that would be amazing. Meanwhile, Jarkko Torvinen has not given up his pursuit of Benny Benzel either. Keep in mind, if Torvinen can get around Benzel in the background here, as we show this now, if he can do this, then that would basically reset it back to 5 points, the difference. Wolf Matuszka has just started what I assume, and you see it confirmed on your screen, that this is the last lap of the race. And once again, to correct myself from earlier, Eko Žajban is not the 2nd place driver in the championship. I was getting him confused with Alberto Jeanfrist. Alberto Jeanfrist and Jarkko Torvinen, 2 and number 1 in the championship respectively. And they're running 7th and 9th in the race currently. Race down to 4 positions in the race and the championship. Any difference, any more difference, and we will go back to them, I should say, as I'm losing my mind, as Wolf Matuszka is still with his right blinker on. We'll go back to Torvinen just momentarily. If I'm Jarkko Torvinen, I don't make this move because he knows that John Fuss is right in front of him, and he cannot win like right there. He has to have a lot more spots than that. That being said, he cut a second out of him in a single lap. So that's incredible stuff. But if I'm him, I don't make a move here. I wouldn't necessarily want to jeopardize my championship hopes here, and I don't think he's gonna either. I think he's gonna ride this out. John Prost would have to gain, again, another 3 or 4 spots to make this real on this final lap, and I don't think he's gonna do that. But meanwhile, Wolf Matuszka back to form in the Pepto-Bismol Audi R8 Evo with the right blinker on, wins the race, wins for the final time in Season 10. He may not be the one taking home the big hardware, but my God, does he have his own set of hardware that he can take home this evening. And here we have Osi Takamaki, who had a strong qualifying run in the Big Bad GTR and comes across the line, finishing second place. Absolutely brilliant. And what about the man who had a relatively quiet race, who won at Hockenheim and now has another podium for himself? Ivan Dimitrov in third position, followed very closely by Eko Zeitvin. Excellent finish for Zeitvin there in fourth position. Bruno Cadile now will be the next guy across the line, flashing the lights. A championship well contested by Bruno Cadile. Another top 5, a fantastically earned top 5 for him here. Stefan Kwai in 6th place. Alberto Janfrist will come up just a few spots shy of winning the championship. And as we come across the line, Jarkko Torvinen did overtake Vinny Benzel for 8th place, resetting the championship to 5 points. That is going to be your championship gap. 5 points at the line. Vinny Benzel in 9th. Alexander Borodai is going to finish. I don't think Alexander Borodai crossed the line. I don't know if he crossed the line. I don't know exactly what happened there. Oh no, I guess they did cross the line. Okay. They absolutely did. I was getting confused. I was looking at 2 different timing screens. So they absolutely crossed the line. But Wolf Matuszka, your race winner, he's going to take it right into pit road. And Jarkko Torvinen, who has won this championship, here is your 1 and 2 in the championship, sitting nose to tail on the track. They are the only 2 cars not in pit road. I'm interested to see if they're going to do any sort of maneuver here to celebrate. I'm going to stay with them because that might be a possibility. I'm sure they're talking in chat, and we're just going to go to the helicopter cam here so we don't miss anything. But a fantastic season that has been won by Jarkko Torvinen over Alberto Janfrist by just 5 points. You're going to be your finale. These are not updated standings, mind you. I believe Bruno Cadile is going to get really close. I'm unsure if he took 3rd in the championship, but it's going to be dang close, isn't it? We'll have to find out after the fact if that is what happened there. Absolutely fantastic drive, though, by Jarkko Torvinen. I had a rough day, and to come away with the championship and all of that is just fantastic. And congratulations to Wolf Matuszka winning 1 more race on the year. It was fantastic, of course. So, all of that said, congratulations on a fantastic Season 2 in Tier 2. It's been a pleasure to bring this with you most of the time with Random Call Sign. I apologize for any mistakes that may have occurred during the race, including some of the clerical errors that I personally made, and the stream error, or not stream error, but the quality of the stream not being great at times. Of course, working usually with random call sign, he handles that and he makes it look really pretty. I'm not able to do that, unfortunately. But thank you for being here anyway and sitting with us, and hopefully you enjoyed that race as much as I did. We've got Wolf Matushka, the race winner, in chat. Congratulations, Wolf, on winning one more in the season. One more race. Let's see, how many races did Wolf Matushka win? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wolf, you won 6 out of 10 rounds. You didn't participate in 2 of the rounds. How do you feel? How do you feel right now? And as we wait for the stream lag to get to him, just going to bring up a few things. On Sunday, Redline Motorsports is going to have a Super Trofeo race in the Lamborghinis. 2 splits open. There's a few spots available in the second split. You can go to redlinemotorsport.co.uk and sign up for that if you're interested in participating on that on Sunday evening. That is, I think that starts around 8 o'clock British time. So that's a thing if you're interested in that. Season 3 already confirmed, by the way, in ACC, will come up, I believe, after the summer break this year. We've got the Endurance Championship coming up. That'll be fantastic to watch. Wolf Matushka, sad that he couldn't fight for the championship. Wolf, did you know you had your right blinker on ever since you made the pit stop? Because I may have mentioned it in the race a few times. But I absolutely loved it. Wolf Matushka winning 6 out of the 10, and you see the results for all of the other races. This is not including the final round. This was pre-today's race. Just looking at the points here, some things that stand out is for me is the fact that Jean First won the Spa race, the 2.4-hour race that we did not get to bring you, sadly. But Reg Strello winning several rounds today, but of course he missed some races as well. Yeah, I said that during the race, Wolf. I said that because I drive the Audi as well. I also understand and can appreciate that there is no indicator for your indicator. I think that's a bit of a design flaw with Audi Sport. I think we might have to go have a talk with them. But yeah, there's no indicator for it. But again, I only mentioned it a few times in fun, of course. But what an amazing season it has been. Thank you guys for joining us. And now is the point in the stream where I say goodbye. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for putting up with the poorer stream quality, easy for me to say, and the poorer commentating. Working without a net and working by yourself, it's a tough job. So thank you everybody for showing up and watching the race. Congratulations to Wolf Matushka, champion of the race, 6 out of the 10 rounds, and congratulations to Jarkko Torvinen, who successfully defended and absolutely ran a race that he had to run to win the championship. So what a hard day's work for Jarkko, and a championship trophy awaits the Bentley driver. Congratulations and fantastic. Thank you all, and who knows, maybe we'll be back someday. See you all then. Take care, and take care of each other.